Well, welcome to these midweek moments on this Thursday. I greet you as we spend these few minutes together. We are on the heels of the end of a season in the life of the church called Epiphany and about to start on a Lenten journey. The Lenten journey is a 40-day period, not counting Sundays, that begins next Wednesday, February the 17th. And the way Christians around the world mark the day is with ashes made of, in the sign of the cross. We will gather twice next week for a service. Once, the first service is at 6 o'clock on the portico front of the church. It'll be a brief service. It will be outdoors, social distancing, a bit of music, a thoughtful moment, and then the call to observe a holy Lent, and then with Q-tip, a cross of ashes on our forehead so that we may maintain what is prudent to do in these days. And then at 7 o'clock, there will be a service inside in the sanctuary, which will also be live streamed. So I guess you could say there are really three ways that we might mark the beginning of Lent together: 6 o'clock portico, brief service outside, 7 o'clock sanctuary service, and 7 o'clock live stream. So I hope that you will join us as the journey begins. As I think about next week, of course, we'll have ashes and crosses. It seems so counterintuitive to things like blooming camellias, right? I mean, ashes and camellias, not either or, but both and I think that's sort of kind of like the season. It is one that calls us to be mindful that we are not self-sufficient, independent, untouchable. No, we are human and frail, and sometimes saint and sometimes sinner, and we are a mixture of all of that, and we are in need of a Savior. I walk my dogs as I make my way through the start of my morning, and I've noticed amid the cold that has been, I think, unseasonable. Maybe my upstate blood has now turned to low country, and I find it very cold these last several weeks. But amid the sort of dreary, rainy, sometimes windy, sometimes cold days that we have lived through the last several weeks, the nature is abundant in its flowering, even in the winter. You probably have camellias in your yard or in your neighborhood. If I understand my history right, Charleston is the first spot of land in the Americas where a camellia was brought over. And so they certainly do dot the landscape here and are beautiful. But their flowering zenith is in the time when it is most cold and dreary, which is, again, I think, part of the just the testament of faith, right? That in a season that can be challenging and compressing and heavy, that even in that season of the life of in the physical world, we get the beauty of things like camellias. It reminds me of how that gets lived out in people's lives too, not just in the physical world, the natural world, but how it gets lived out in people. I was talking to our beloved Edie Gregg this morning. She's in the hospital, has moved from ICU to a regular room and on her way to rehab. And I was talking to her today, and I said, you said something the other day that I want to quote you, but I never want to use someone's name and their story without their permission. She granted it to me, so I share with you. When we were talking the other day, she's in ICU. I can't get to her. I can't see her. she laughingly said, you know, the two things that I have hated to give up have been my car keys and my credit card. We laughed a little about that and how the pandemic has you know, made her world small, as it has for so many. And she's had to relinquish, you know, her ability to drive and go where she wants, to shop for groceries, to go get her haircut, to do any number of things, to go shopping. I hate that I have to get rid of my, you know, my car keys and my credit card. And after a brief laugh, she said, but you know, I think what this season has taught me is I don't need as much as I thought I did. I really do have most of what I have what I already need. I miss the people. I miss the relationships, but I've discovered in the pandemic, I already have all I need. Cold and magnolia. The wisdom of someone in their 90s who reflects on the pandemic, isolation, health challenges. Gone are the credit card and the car keys. But that flowering magnolia, the flowering camellia reality, I've discovered I already have everything I need. Thank you, Edie. So come join us, whether it's cold or whether the sky parts and the blue skies appear. In Charleston, there's something always blooming. God is making something new all the time, in the physical world and in us. And on that we can depend. I'll look to see you on Sunday at our 9 o'clock open air or at our 10 o'clock sanctuary service. And then hope to see you next Wednesday at 6 o'clock in the front of the church, portico, or inside in a sanctuary at 7. My love to you.